Hi everyone, a quick introduction before the video begins. This is a flight I flew, a lone wolf sortie on the Burning Skies server recently. I've tried to keep the video down to the highlight sections, and I've also included some analysis from Tacview. The Tacview analysis is split up throughout the video, so if you want to skip forward to the relevant sections, then see the timestamps in the video description below. Right, let's taxi. I'm taking the elliptical wing spit. I think quite a few of the other players are flying the new clipped wing, but I'm sticking with the elliptical one. I've got a slipper tank on, which I'm going to have to remember to jettison. So we've got the slipper tank on. We've got to be careful about making sure we have enough airspeed to get airborne here. And we do, we've got plenty. So I'm going to climb out towards Le Havre. Ground forces ahead of me are reporting visual contact with the enemy. That's Bravo Bravo, or Bravo Bravo Q8 or something. Anyway, it's basically where I am, which is over Le Havre here. So I'm just going to keep a... there we go, I've got gunfire down low. Okay. Well, I might have to jettison the tank. I can actually see this enemy contact now. He is down low over near the forest, and it looks like he's flying away. I'll see if he turns back around to make a second attack. Yes, it does look like he may be turning around. So we should get some action here. Weapon safety is off. Check the airspace around. Gonna lose the tank. He's over there. There's two of them. In fact, three of them, in fact. No, it's only one, but there is flak firing, which is what confused me for a second. I'm going to try and climb up and over him here. He's still sitting down there. appears to be flying away from me. So he's probably in a dive. Gonna drop underneath him here and hope he doesn't see me. He seems very slow. Okay, I took a piece off his left aileron off. And that was a hit on the engine fuselage area. I've got another aircraft coming in, so I'm going to climb up. Two more aircraft arriving now. That guy's hostile, I think. Okay, he's gotten around on my 6 there with that nice move. And there's a new one arriving as well. Just waiting for this guy to stop turning. Very low on airspeed here. Okay. Basically out of all airspeed. And now I have to yank it round. Two of them on me. Three of them kind of on me. This guy's trying to get me to scissor so his mate can finish me off. Got hit there. Okay, one's gone in. Oh. Okay, he's not in a position to hurt me, that guy. But this guy here is low on energy now. I don't think I've got any either, though. It's the problem. Okay, I think I just touched him. His mate's still behind me. Okay, I'm going to stay low now, underneath him here. Ah. Got him. Now I've got to finish his mate over here. Time to reduce my engine settings a bit. Okay, I think that's him over there. He's flying away. Am I clear behind? Yes, I am. Okay, now it's just one-on-one with this guy. Clear behind. Yeah, he's going to get away from me here. But it's probably wise that I give up this scrap as well. Now we can use Tacview here to take a look at that combat sequence that we just saw. Do a little bit of analysis. I'm starting this review from the end of the fight. Here I am chasing that remaining 190 away. And the reason I'm starting from the end of the fight is because I actually just want to look back at the trail paths from my aircraft and the aircraft I was fighting. And there it is back there. I'm going to just go back to a bit more of a plan view. And you can see how complicated this whole combat sequence is. The blue ribbon is my Spitfire. And for the most part, I am doing horizontal turns. There's a vertical turn at the very start of the fight when I had loads of energy, when I came in for that first couple of shots. But after that, the whole sequence for me is almost in the horizontal. You can see that the red line there from this remaining 190 does quite a few vertical passes, and they're very wide turns, basically flying in, trying to get a shot, and then going up and conserving energy. This little picture here paints a pattern of the dogfighting styles of the two aircraft. The Spitfire, lots of horizontal tight turns, and the German energy fighters going up and then coming back in with wide sweeping attacks. So that's the end of the fight, and you can see it's a bit of a mess, so it's going to be quite hard to, I think, identify individual tactical points that we can discuss, purely because it's so complicated. But let's go back to the start in any event. We'll rewind this. And here I am arriving over the port, and down low on my 10 o'clock I spotted this contact who appeared to be attacking the port where there's one of the mission targets. I've got a significant energy advantage, and I saw no other contacts in the sky. So for all that I knew, this was almost a perfect setup to engage that aircraft, which turns out to be a 109. Just for the sake of this video, there are two contacts well to the south and slightly to the west. Pavlich, who's climbing up in a 109, and Coops, who is in a 190. They're between 10 and 20 kilometers away, it seems, based on this. They're not a factor yet, and in fact I did not have visual contact with them at this point, but they will be the guys who enter the fight later on. And we'll see how quickly it takes for them to catch up to me and get involved. So let's start playing from here then. And this is the point where I start a left turn to engage this 109. And he starts a shallow dive, and it looks to me at first like he may have seen me and that he's trying to fly away. And I think that is the case. He starts climbing, and I realize that if I probably try to climb with him, I'll be unsuccessful. And this is where I drop my nose. So I drop my nose so that I can get underneath him and kind of do an elongated low yo-yo, just to try and get some airspeed so that hopefully I can pop up underneath him. And that's how I close quite rapidly. Now, it turns out that I chose to shoot far too late. And by the time I do fire, I am pretty much inside my weapon convergence. Or he's inside my convergence. And you can see the weapons are converging way out in front of him. And I missed with my first burst, and then I had to readjust my nose, and I just touched either wing with a couple of rounds. And all I did was really notify him as to my presence. So my initial pass was very, very poor, as you can see from the video. And that just tells him what I'm doing, and he panics, fortunately for me, I think. He panics and he goes up into a very high maneuver. Now, I've got loads of energy. I wouldn't normally do vertical maneuvers in the Spitfire due to the energy demand, and because obviously the German aircraft tend to carry energy better in the vertical. But because I had about as much energy as I knew I could have, plus I knew that he was going significantly slower than me, I was able to use a vertical turn in this case. So I go right up and over. You can see he's panicking a little bit, I think. He goes up, he rolls left, he rolls right. He's trying to find where the hell is this guy coming from that just shot me. So I've got the element of surprise here too. Energy and surprise. If only I had better marksmanship, this would have been sealed a lot earlier. I think he's probably acquired me by this point, and he sees that I'm above him. He's trying to pull up into me, and then he starts a left wing roll. And this is where I can finish him. Still got tons of energy. I pulled my nose up to the left. He flies across in front of me, and I hit his engine at that point. I know I've hit his engine. I know he's dropping down, so I decide to just stay up above him, gain some energy of my own. It takes me a few moments to roll my wings level. I'm quite far above him by this point, and that's when I pull up and get myself level, try to start thinking about some more situational awareness. And it's at this point where I see Pavlich approaching from my left. So zooming out here, in this process of me going around the corner, diving on him, making a couple of turns and heading back this way, Pavlich has completely closed. So it's now a 2-on-1. Lezo's damaged, Pavlich is arriving. Fortunately for me, Pavlich is arriving from my port side, almost directly to my port side, which means that if he wants to hit me on the first pass, he'll have to apply a massive amount of deflection. It's a very difficult shot. And once I do see him, I try to keep my left wingtip pointing at him, just to try and maintain that high level of deflection. And then just as he gets close in, then I also yank up into the vertical. I've got some energy by this point. So we're both going up, both pulling high G, high angles of attack, and we start turning. Pavlich will get behind me here. Now this is where I pull off one of my favourite little moves when I have an enemy aircraft on my 6 in a relatively high energy turn. I'm not pulling as much turn as I could. I could yank those wings back over to 85 degrees and then pull the stick back in the pit of my stomach and make a very tight left-hand turn here. But I don't want to do that because I want to suck this guy Pavlich. I want to suck him just in a bit closer and give him the feeling that he could make the shot. And the other thing I do right about here is I push the nose forward there. So I push the nose forward at this point quite dramatically because he's just started taking a shot. So I've sucked him into making a shot and I just push the nose forward. The reason I do that is I want to drop below his nose. If I can zoom in so we can see his aircraft, I don't know. I want to drop below his nose. So now he's pulling a massive amount of lead on me, but it's not because he's pulled the lead. It's because I've pushed my nose forward. In order for him to reacquire me visually now, he's going to have to push his nose forward as well, unless he wants to roll wings level. And he does just that. He then pushes his nose forward, we'll go back to my view, to bring me back into view. I think he does that about here. There he goes, pushing his nose forward. And because at the same moment I start pulling back on my stick and increasing my turn rate, I will rush up from the bottom of his... I'm just going to a first-person view. This is my view. So in his forward view, I'll be down here, and within about half a second, I will have shot straight up his canopy, and I'll be disappearing out the top of his canopy. And the reason I do that is because I want to force him to pull into a massive turn and just make him panic a little bit. So I yank into the heavy turn now, and he does the same. But he can't pull nearly enough deflection. So I've managed to bleed off tons of his energy, and that's what I was aiming to do. Nose forward and then nose back. And now he's following me around in this left-hand turn. He is about 1/3 to 1/4 of the way around the turn behind me. And if we zoom in here on this plan view, you can see the relative turn tightness. So he started just inside my turn, and it's only about this point here that I start really tightening it up, and he goes outside the turn there, and now he will be just outside the turn all the time. The next aircraft to join will be Coops, and he's in a Focke-Wulf 190, and he's got energy. He could definitely tip the balance of this fight. The other thing to notice is that Lezo is still here. He's not out, he hasn't been destroyed, and it looks like he's flying in a very safe left or up and down pattern, almost in straight lines, actually trying to gain a bit of energy back. He's got no intention of leaving this fight, and he will come back into play a bit later. For the moment we could say this is a one-on-one with equal energy, but with two other threats, and it will soon become a 3-on-1 situation. We have to pay attention to what this 190 does. We can continue playing from here as Pavlich and I go around in circles. Now there are a few times during this, I think, from the video where I'm not particularly good with my turns. And in fact, there was a case there. He's actually managed to pull right inside me here. He possibly dumped some flap, but he did actually come right inside my turn, and now he's less than 1/4 of the turn behind me. But I am still in a very tight circle, so I don't think he'll be able to get lead. And at that point, he runs out of energy. And you can see he rolled and I'm still maintaining my turn. So he nearly caught up to me. He probably just yanked a bit hard, probably dropped a bit of flap to try and get inside my turn, but was unable to. Round and round in circles we go. He's adding a bit of verticalness or verticality to his. He's adding a bit of verticality to his turns, so I do the same. I decide to drop to gain energy, or airspeed rather, and then I can go and do a vertical turn. So I drop down, nose down, and then I can use the vertical to try and get back up. That's about the only time I ever do vertical turns, is when I've managed to do a bit of a dive to gain some energy. He is with me. He's very, very good at sticking with me. We go into a barrel roll here. He almost gets shots. And here is where Coops enters. If you look at the plan of the aircraft now, or the section of the aircraft, I'm now here at about what looks like 12,000 feet. Or was it 2,000 feet? And Coops is co-out. Pavlich is just below me, but with good energy. And Lizo's now co-out. So it's a 3-on-1 situation now. There are still no friendly aircraft nearby. So I'm on my own here with 3 threats. Keep playing. This is where Coop's coming in for his first serious pass. He's got a lot of speed, so all he can really do is roll. If he tries to pull back on a stick in the horizontal here, he won't be able to follow at all. And you can see he's trying. He's actually not done too badly there. He's probably got a little bit of lead on me, but we're moving so fast relative to each other, and he's coming through so quick that in no time at all I have rolled slightly more vertical and he can't get a shot, and he's just going to have to fly away. So that's his first serious pass. I'm focused mainly on Pavlich here, who's descending as well. We're basically just dropping out of the sky in this tight turn. He's on my 6. This is going to go for quite some time now. This is a story of Pavlich chasing me around in circles, and Coops making those high-speed passes through our formation, trying to get hits, but I don't think he's able to at any time. I'm trying to shake Pavlich desperately here. So we go into some tight left-hand turns, and Coops comes whizzing through again. Now if we look at Pavlich relative to me, he is still only about a third of a turn behind me. So he's just managing to keep himself in touch really well the whole time. Descending, descending, descending. Now doing this descending all the time is also helping bring Coops down. I want to bring him down as far as he can go as well, because I don't want him having this nice high energy advantage. And I want him to keep, ideally he would be tightening his turns, but he's doing a pretty good job of just sweeping through in these kind of figure 8 moves. Okay, I'll speed this up because Pavlich and I just go round and round in circles around each other for quite some time. And he gets close, gets shots nearly on me. And it's not until here that, for some reason, Pavlich changes up. And let's just see how this happens. He overshoots me. He does a rolling scissor and actually gets on my 6, almost on my 6. He's basically sitting above me. So let's just go back to that rolling scissor, because that's really quite a pivotal moment in all of this. He'd gone vertical and I'd stayed horizontal, and he'd managed to get himself in front of me. And this is where he goes up and tries to roll a scissor over the top, and he almost gets on my 6. That's very close. He's just sitting above me. I need to desperately make sure that I don't push too far forward here. So I think I reduce the throttle and pull the nose up a little bit. And now we're in a rolling scissors. Bad idea when you're in a Spitfire. Rolling scissors with a 109 or a 190. So I've really got to make sure I don't throttle up too hard. Because if I throttle up too hard and he gets on top of me like this, he can pull the nose down, which is exactly what happens. So I'm back in the turning defense again. Pavlich at that point gets some hits on me. And I've got 2 of these guys rolling around on my 6, going round and round in circles. These are really tight circles. We're actually counter-rotating at this point, and then we go back into this rolling scissors again, trying to get shots on. You can see us there. There's a perfect view of the rolling scissors. Coops still has a bit too much energy, but he does manage to throw me off with that pass. I saw his guns, and I was like, crap. And Pavlich now stops the rolling scissors because he's now trying to pull around to get behind me. But I can also play that same game. so I turn as well. I'm a bit unstable here, a bit wobbly. Almost a head-on pass here. We're counter-rotating. And that's where I managed to get shots, because I've just managed to pull inside. No serious damage though. May have touched a control surface, but the counter-rotating is quite good for the Spitfire. Scissoring again. I've got to have low throttle when scissoring with these guys. If you go high throttle, they'll just go up over the top of you. You'll have too much horizontal velocity and they'll drop on you from the top. Coops is still hanging around the back here. But he's got lots of energy and he's just coming whizzing through every time. Round and round and round we go. And there's the fatal blow. At that point there, Pavlich has tried that scissor quite a few times. It's been relatively effective. I'm not sure why in this instance he failed. It's very likely that the previous bit of damage I did enough just to reduce his maneuverability. And this is the scissor that gets him. He just flies straight into my guns at that point there. And he's down. Now, the first one that I hit has disappeared out of the fight at some point. It took ages and ages for him to finally crash. Way back here. So it was a 3-on-1 situation for quite some time. Anyway, after destroying Pavlich, he fought brilliantly well, stayed on my 6 for so many turns. It was unbelievable how long he managed to stay there. Coops and I go into a couple of circles, but he realises, I think, that I'm on a 6 and he can't shake me. It's also very possible that he sees in the distance the arrival of other aircraft. This is Redline over here. Redline is a very good Spitfire pilot, and he will come into play very shortly. So, Coops and I going around in circles here. I'm the one getting shots off, so I think at this point he realises that he has to run, and that's exactly what he does. I'm outside of gun range, so I'm just outside of the 300 to 400 metre range. As long as he flies straight and level, there's nothing I can do to close. My bullets will not catch him, and my aircraft will not catch him. If he tries turning, I've got a chance, but he knows the score, and Coops starts to flee. So that's the end of that combat sequence. Started off as a one-on-one with me having a massive energy advantage. Then we went to a one-on-one kind of equal. For a moment there, it was a 3-on-1. And then we managed to force the remaining 190 away. We'll pick up the Tacview footage again after the next combat sequence. He's flying away. I can't catch him. My engine's way too hot. Phew. He's probably going to come back at me here. He's off to my right. See, what I can do is I can circle back and drop down over the ground target. If he tries to come at me, I don't think he will though. Okay, he's coming back at me now. He wants another piece. I'm going to climb here. But I'm also going to put myself quite close over the ship. Because that's got guns. And guns can defend. And I think I'm going to need the help of those guns. Because this guy knows what's up. Yeah, he's definitely trying to close on me. Let's see if we can quickly go up to... Ah, new arrival. There are now 2 aircraft over there. Well, that was a stroke of fortune for me. Because that guy that was up behind me has just dived on this other aircraft, possibly thinking it was me. I think he's dived on another Luftwaffe aircraft. Anyway, I've got 2 of them over here now, and I've managed to cool my engine off a little. I don't know if that's enemy or friendly that's under attack there, but anyway, we'll see what we can do. I'm trying to lend a hand here, lend some assistance. Looks like they're both flying up the river. Can't quite ID either one. One of them is circling back around now. This guy down here. Don't see the other one. I think that it was a Spitfire that arrived and chased that 109 away. It's a very big coloured, big shaped dot, and the big dots tend to be the friendlies. Follow this guy for a moment and then I'll RTB. He's German. Or he's German. There. Don't think he knows I'm here yet. Don't think he realizes I'm here. I think he thinks it's just that other guy. Got him. Okay, so that's 3. It's time to head home. Clearing the airspace in a big circle here. Let's get out of here. So after chasing Coops, I broke off and started flying back towards Le Havre. He did the same behind me, and I knew he was going to be following me. So I had to try and maintain good airspeed and head back towards the cover of Le Havre. I wanted to drop in here and get in where the anti-aircraft guns were, but he's following me and he's catching me, and this is where Red Line shows up. Red Line is the extra aircraft that arrives, and he dives on Coops, and Coops sees him coming and turns away. Redline goes up and over in the spit, and they run off up the river. Redline is unable to catch up to Coops. So despite having this big energy advantage, those 190s are just so damn quick compared to the Spitfire that he just can't catch him. So Coops flees for home. And that's what happened there as I was turning around over the port. Redline breaks off and heads towards a new contact over towards Les Eaux, which is this chap here, Qui-Gon. And as I'm heading towards, I see Redline dive on that aircraft, and I decide to investigate for myself. So Qui-Gon and Redline are now going around in circles. Both good pilots, these two. Redline's one of the better Spitfire pilots around, and Qui-Gon is quite an experienced chap as well. I don't think I've met him in combat before, though. So there they go. And Redline gets hits in his very first pass. Qui-Gon suddenly looks a bit unstable there, and he's doing a lot at this point to shake Redline. He does a really nice, or quite flat yo-yo, but I've got a lot of smack here. And I'm just coming in straight on a 6. Where is Redline at this point? Up and over the top. Qui-Gon pulls up, and I don't think he knows I'm here. I think I'm talking about this in the video. He doesn't realise that he's got 2 Spitfires with him. Keeping my energy, not turning as hard as him, and you can see the energy advantage there. See, I'm still going vertical, and he's already rolled over the top, and now he's inverted and diving. So I've managed to gain probably a couple of 1,000 feet on him. This is me again using the vertical when I have lots of energy. We've discussed that in the previous sequence. That puts me in a beautiful position behind him here. Redline is closing as well, but I've got energy. So I end up slipping in front of Redline after he shoots. So that's actually quite safe. That's safe flying. What is not safe is if I had opened up with Redline still in front of me. Because he's number 1 in the chain, he should be the one doing the shooting. Once he's had his shot, missed, and I've overtaken, that means I'm now number 1 in the chain. I can now take the shot. You see far too many times online that the number 2 aircraft starts shooting in front of the number 1, and that's how you get a lot of friendly fire incidents. Now I'm number 1. Oh, there's actually Redline. There's Redline doing, I think, just what I said was a bad idea. And I think he was shooting from behind me. That was a bit naughty. Yeah, I'm up above his canopy, and I think he opens up here. Oh, Redline, you naughty boy. Let's see if he does. Yep. That's a bit naughty. So he's shooting. Whoa. That's a bit naughty. Okay, anyway, it's at this point that Qui-Gon reverses his role, and I'm able to get my deflection shot. Not much deflection, but a little bit. And it's fatal. End of the combat sequence. That's really a story of just us completely outnumbering that poor chap, Qui-Gon. Got bounced by 2 Spitfires, both with a massive energy advantage. There's really not much he could do there. Good, so 3 victories in the sortie, and at that point I decided to head home, probably low on ammo and fuel. I'm not quite sure which way the wind is blowing, so I'm going to try and get a viz on a windsock. There isn't one. I know I took off towards the sea, so I'm guessing I will do a landing towards the sea. What I'll do is I'll just go straight across the field at right angles to the runway, and then I'll go left into the downwind. So full fine. Lights on. There is someone down there. I'm all clear behind. Okay, right angles to the field, then we'll go left into the down. Okay, that can be good for downwind. I am terrible at landing because I am so out of practice, so expect this to be a pretty poor job. We're low as well. Turning in. Lowered the gear. I do have a little bit of the brake lever just held on here, as usual for me. Okay, lower the seat. And now I'll put the flaps down. Gear light shows us down. Coming at 110, which is good. A 100, could do with a little bit more throttle. Okay, we're relatively well lined up. Okay, and we just stall onto the wheels there. Okay, we'll call that a landing. And let's depart off to the right. About 1,200 RPM just for taxiing gently here. I've got the stick fully back. That will do. On the grass. Brakes on. Mixture. Turn various bits and pieces off. Very well. There we go. A successful flight on Burning Skies. 3 victories, 1 a little bit sneaky. I'm a bit rusty. I must say that my turning was pretty poor in those first 2 fights. You'll notice that I was very low on energy and unable to really hold the aircraft. So I need to work on my turns again for a while and my low-level dogfighting. I also apologise for the view. I know at times I was, right in here and there were bits of cockpit bar in the way and everything. So I apologise for being a bit erratic with the, with the field of view and the track IR. But, that's just how it goes sometimes. We got home safe, which is the most important thing.